Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from Central Florida. Last spring I started my first ever vegetable garden. I'd grown a couple of tomato plants in the past, but this was my first time really having a full-fledged garden. I had collard greens, peppers, tomatoes, and I had quite the harvest. My collard greens ended up looking like trees. I mean, look at the size of these leaves. They were producing so many collard greens that I was giving them out to family and friends. This is a pepper plant that from a garden my son had done the year before, and he had never gardened either, and it was still producing. So I took that over, and I also had some grape tomatoes growing, and as you can see here, this is from one of my harvests. I had enough peppers to actually dry them out and make some crushed pepper flakes, which was a first for me, and I'm still using those. But as you can see here, it was really highly productive. So living in Florida, I decided to do my first winter garden. And I did something a little, I don't know if this is unusual or not, but I took some of the existing collard green plants that I had, and two of them, this one did not have roots. I cut it. This is a top cutting. I don't know if this is going to root and grow or not. And this one is a bottom cutting, so it had roots. And I just planted them down in the ground. And this one is a top cutting as well. So no roots on that one either. So I decided to do a little experiment like I like to do and just take those cuttings, pop them in the soil, and see if they would grow and produce. I don't know if people do that or not. Like I said, I'm new to vegetable gardening. This is my first winter garden. So I don't know if I'm doing something weird, but I'm kind of interested to see if they'll propagate like other plants. So I went to the store. I bought this tomato plant to add to my garden. And here it's a beefsteak tomato plant. So I added that. All of these plants I purchased at Lowe's. These were $7.98. I figured it's a good sized plant and it already has some buds on it and some flowering. So hopefully I'll be getting some tomatoes very soon. And I'm going to stick the name stake in here so that I know what it is. And if I learned anything last year, I learned that tomato plants definitely need to be staked. So I have these stakes. I'm going to stake up this plant. My tomato plant last year got so tall, it was taller than me. My tomato plant was literally almost 6 feet tall. So just in case it decides to be an overachiever like the plant last year, I'm going to go ahead and give it some support from the beginning. In my last garden, space was definitely at a premium, so I decided to add fewer plants this go around. And so the next plant that I got was this sweet banana pepper plant. And as you can see, it already has some little buds on it. So I definitely was looking for plants that had buds or flowers on them already so that they could produce kind of soon. At least that's my hope. But like I was saying, last time I had so many plants in here. So this year my thoughts are I'm going to go with fewer plants, and I'm just going to try and pick vegetables that I use most frequently. So I'm really loving the roots on this plant. Hopefully it will be so happy to have somewhere for its roots to expand that this plant's just going to take right on off. I was so impressed with my last garden that I could not wait to get started again. And from what I understand, the plants being sold right now are the plants that will grow in my zone at this time. So I'm hoping that's the case. And I'm also hoping that you all are interested in following the progress of this garden. I don't typically do vegetable gardening on this channel. So if you're not interested, let me know. My feelings will not be hurt. But if you are, let me know as well. Now, this next plant is a Roma tomato plant. And the only reason I didn't get grape tomatoes like last season is because I just couldn't find them. Those grape tomatoes produced so abundantly. I was thrilled. I was literally getting tomatoes off of the vine every single day, and they taste amazing. So I'm hoping that these Roma tomatoes will produce just as abundantly. And as you can see, there's already flowers on the plant. So I have high hopes for this plant, and I'm going to be keeping an eye out on it to see when those tomatoes come in. I honestly had no idea that vegetable gardening could be so fun. I had no idea what I was missing out on. And this really excites me. I love it. I find it really fulfilling to be able to feed myself from the plants that I'm growing. And I love the nurturing of the plants and learning something new. So this is pretty exciting for me. If you've never vegetable gardened, you just don't know what you're missing. Now I want to learn how to do canning and all kinds of things. So like I said, I'm just excited about this. I feel like a kid who's, been turned on to something new, and I'm just excited about it. Now, once again, I'm not experienced enough to know if this is normal or if this is a natural, something that happens all the time. But when I went and looked at the sweet pepper plants, all of them already had peppers on them. So is that the norm? Sometimes you go in, oh, hold on. Let me grab these bags before they end up blowing in the lake. Don't want that to happen. So I'm just gonna throw them in here. Okay, and here we go, back to my vegetables. Like I was saying, they already had peppers all over all of the plants. So I'm like, may as well grab the one that has the most peppers on it, bonus peppers, right? So, but sweet peppers, I'm excited about these. And I mean, this has opened a whole new world to me. This year, I want to learn how to do canning and all of that kind of stuff. It's just, like I said, something very rewarding about being able to grow the food, grow your own food. And fresh vegetables can be costly. They're a little pricey, especially right now. So anything I can do to save a few dollars and find pleasure in it, I'm all in. Poor little collard green plants. I don't know if they're going to make it or not, but I certainly hope they do. But I just feel bad. All of these plants look so perky and healthy, and then I look over there at my collards and they just look like just pitiful. But again, I'm all about the experimentation. I don't know if that's something that people do on a regular basis or not. A lot of times when I'm doing things, I don't like to look up and do research and see what everyone else is doing. I just kind of want to go with wherever it takes me. And so yeah, I'm really enjoying this. And that's the final plant that I purchased. I'm going to have a few months of updates in this video. So this is what the vegetable garden looked like after I finished planting it initially. I'm going to focus primarily on the propagation of these collards. So this is what they look like when I planted them. And this is what they look like 2 weeks later. This is the garden. Everything so far is living and doing well. As you can see, the flowers have opened on these peppers, and I have a few plants on there, a few peppers on there. And this is the plant that already had peppers, the sweet pepper plant, and they're all doing well. I am noticing that I'm having some bug damage on my leaves, so I'm gonna have to definitely treat this area with some neem oil or something. As you can see, the leaves are being eaten, but it's growing vegetables. And look at this, I have some tomatoes, and the largest tomato plant that I expected to really be doing something, it's growing but still not producing. And look at the collard green plants. So far, everything here is going well. I'm amazed to see that the top cuttings that didn't have any roots seem to be doing well. This one in the middle is the one that had roots and that I planted in here, and it's a bottom cutting. It's doing well. This is the one that I'm most concerned about. Don't know how it's doing, although the leaves on that are now standing up. Remember in the past when I first planted it, all of the leaves were just laying down limp. none of the leaves were upright. This one, the leaves are upright. It's bent over. It's the top cutting. 1 month later, this is what the garden looks like. Now that's my collard green plant that didn't have roots. This middle one is the one that did have roots. It's doing great. And the one beside it, the small one that didn't have roots, is doing well also. This large tomato plant is definitely being eaten by bugs, more so than I had bug issues in the warmer months. And I'm seeing that from all of these plants. Yeah, they're definitely having some pest issues, but I do have peppers. I have tomatoes at this point. And 1.5 months later, look at the collard green plants. That the first one had no roots. Clearly it's growing roots. This middle one had roots on it and I planted it, cut it off. It's doing great. This one looks terrible. I'm going to look at this one and see what's going on. If I'm going to lose one, I'm thinking it's that one. So I'll trim up this one a little bit, but hey, I'm really impressed. These cuttings are working. And these are my plants from last season. Now I do see this darkness on here. I don't know. I think that's from where it was scraping the bin the size of the bed last season. But look at this. I definitely have some collards growing. Again, I'm going to have to spray the area down with some neem oil. This one looks horrible. So this looks like it might be soft. Let me see. Ugh. Yeah, this is a mess. I don't think you saw it. Something squirted out of my hand and it smells disgusting. So I'm going to, this one, yeah, it's rotting. Clearly it's rotting from the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. Let's see. Ugh. There's all kinds of really smelly stuff squirting out of this plant. This plant is disgusting. I don't even know if this can be saved. No, look at this. Yeah. Definitely rotting from the inside. There's no salvaging this plant. I had to go in and wash my hands. It was smelling so bad. So I just went on and pulled up that entire plant. And I think these others are okay, but since this one is showing this black, let me make sure that this one isn't rotting also. This stalk seems pretty firm, so I don't think this one is having that same problem. It may be growing roots, but it's still rocking quite a bit, so the roots aren't very deep. I should have shown you the roots on that other plant that I pulled up. But I'm just going to take this opportunity to clean up this plant a little bit. But I'm really impressed with the way this middle one is going. Of course, it had roots already, but I had pulled it up and everything because I was just going to throw all the plants out, and I decided to propagate. So this one seems to be doing well. Let's just go ahead and take a real quick look at the other plants and see how they're doing. Actually, these plants are being eaten by pests so bad. I'm going to go ahead and spray them with some neem oil. I said I was going to do that a couple of weeks ago and I never did do it. But as you can see, a lot of leaves are missing at this point. I have some of the sweet peppers are starting to turn red. So they're doing well, although the plant itself is suffering a bit from pest damage, as are all of these plants. And this big tomato plant is really being eaten. So I have some neem oil on standby, and this is just a solution of neem oil with some dish liquid and water. And I'm just going to saturate the plants, try to get all parts of it, as well as the soil, and that should hopefully take care of the pest. And I'm going to need to repeat this again in probably about 10 days for any eggs that may have hatched and any, pests that are remaining. So I'm just going to do this for all of the plants in this garden as well as the soil. The sun's not really out right now. You don't want to spray your leaves and stuff like that when the sun is out because it will cause the foliage to burn. The plant that I pulled up that had rotted, I was going to put that in the trash, but it would have to be in there for a few days. And when I say this thing stinks, I mean it is very rancid. It smells terrible. And I didn't even want my garbage can to be smelling like that. So I'm glad I didn't just throw it in there because I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I may as well use it as compost. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and dig a hole, and I'm going to put that the parts of that plant in here in the soil. I know it didn't rot because it was diseased or anything. It's because, again, I pulled it up and, you know, just kind of stuck it in the ground. Okay, it's not going to fit this way, but yeah, let me turn this around. But I figured it'd be better to just go ahead, put it in here. And now if it was diseased and things like that, I definitely would not want to bury that in my garden and, you know, introduce disease into my soil. So I'm just going to put these parts in here. And yeah, I'm wearing rubber gloves because this stuff it's yuck. That's all I can say about that. So I'm going to put it down here in the soil, and I'm just going to cover it up and let it decompose and use it as compost. But I want to hopefully cover it enough so that no animal will come and dig it up. But I don't know if anybody would want anything that smells this bad. But anyway, so that's what I decided to do with that plant. So that's it for my vegetable garden. Let me know in the comments if you are interested in me continuing this, if you want to see how this propagation with the collards grow, and how my garden grows. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay well, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.